Hi, greetings. Thanks for being here. Um, the video is shaking a little bit. I want to say, may you, your family, your children, your animals, the land around you, your plants, your visions be favored, and may you be well and healthy as can be. How are you? Wow, we're in November. We made it through most of the year. Congratulations. Today's video, so I'll share a little bit about the beginning. I want to start bringing in some sound therapy into the videos. And the two sounds that you heard are a root chakra crystal bowl. Just holding that for you guys, right? And this crystal bowl resonates at the frequency of 531 hertz. And I figured this out by downloading a vocal tone recorder on my phone and just started playing these tones in front of it because I'd learned about sound therapy. I know a little bit about sound therapy. I actually think that that is the future, and other things as well, but predominantly sound therapy. And then the other bowl you heard resonates at 522 hertz. So what I've learned about 528, which this is the closest to 528, is that it is a DNA repairing sound, that it helps, all singing bowls help bring in a certain tone and resonance to help our bodies resonate to that same vibration, aka frequency, okay? And it's the love frequency. It's called the miracle frequency. And then the first bowl that I showed you, the root chakra bowl, that resonates at 531. So 531 is the Genesis tone, and the two together are supposed to help align bones, help mend tissues, and with one of the research I've been doing are the tuning forks, and all the tuning forks come in different hertz and resonate on different frequencies, and the 528 and the 531 together is supposed to just do some miraculous healing. And they found that tissue repair up to 20% after alcohol, I guess abuse is the correct word, happened within the body. So and it's also root chakra, right? Let's get back to that part too. It also resonates with the root chakra, which makes sense because of how we come into the world, right? And each person there. So if you like that, awesome. I know some of the sounds are a little sharp. What I learned is everything is in alignment, you know, with me, with you, however we come together. Okay, so a lot of my videos have been about Sibyls, and not a lot. So Sibyls, which then turned into AKA witches, which then turned into AKA pagans. So a while back ago, when I was still on Facebook, I did a video with my thesaurus where I looked up the words pagan and heathen. And if you've watched my other videos, I've already described this a little bit. I'll just share it again. Is that both of those words are derived from the planet, the land, where people came from. It didn't actually depict. It became what we see it meaning today. And in all of this, I think that we are under like this giant spell, and that these are the keys to undoing this spell. Okay, we call it spelling, and We see it in the media, and media, as I've said before, is actually also named after a Sibyl, Medea. And I believe that story has been mistold about her. I think almost all stories about ancient feminine has been somewhat, I can't even say somewhat, but predominantly skewed and mistold so that we learn certain things. So over this last holiday, one of my friends and I, she suggested watching a video called The Burning Times. And I've shared before another video called The History of the Witches. And the reason why I bring up Sibyls is because this is what I truly think Sibyls are, and that we look into, researching to basically affirm what I think true Sibyls are. I think I'm a Sibyl. Okay. I know I'm a Sibyl. Let's put it that way. Because, so, I think this is also needed right now in this, for some reason. So, I've shared a little bit. For my experience, I mostly remember my dreams. My dreams were the thing that made me wonder about everything. How do we have dreams? Why do we have nightmares? Why do we have good dreams? Why do we dream about planets and spaceships and houses and weird things? Like, where do dreams come from, and why do they seem so real? And how did it get in my brain in the first place? This is what I used to think as a kid. I've shared with you that at about 9 years old, I had actually before that. So I've mentioned that I went through some sexual trauma as a kid. Well, right before that happened, I was having dreams, people breaking into our house and raping. And so something within me was like, where is this coming from? What am I feeling about this? So I now see that I had basically been being watched. And so I think I was picking up on that person's energy, but I didn't realize that until I was older. And then I had basically a prophetic dream where I saw my mom's Jeep that had been stolen, but it was technically borrowed, going the opposite way on the freeway as we were going this way in a dream the night before. It exactly happened the next day. We were at that exact spot on the freeway, and there goes the Jeep. So who do I tell this to? Of course I told it to my mom. She's like, that's not possible. And I think that this is also part of the magic that was already kind of set forth millennia ago. But I believe that the earth and the ethers and the air and the water hold all the memories. So as we return, or as energies return, I actually, reincarnation, I think not all return, but a lot do. Or even if it's not reincarnation, but it's a returning from maybe somewhere else, which there are a lot of, I consider them also Sibyls, but people who have done spiritual work, or Dolores Cannon comes to mind, somebody who's and also Edgar Casey, who did hypnotherapy, and people started telling them stories about things that we couldn't possibly know. That's a Sibyl. How do we know these things? How do we inherently feel these things? Okay, and then, so then into high school, it was kind of like feeling premonitions. And I could listen to TV or media or the news and feel inside if everything in the story was true. Then the other thing is I knew I was adopted, and I'd always said I was going to find my biological mom. And I really like writing. I've always said I was going to write a book. Okay. What else? Okay. So high school times. And then also during high school is when I started noticing that all like different students of different cliques, as we used to call them, would come and just start telling me their personal lives and like their problems. And I used to think, this person doesn't always talk to me. And actually, I didn't think this person really liked me. Why are they telling me this stuff? Sybil. Okay. And All right, so then the next weird things would be like I would be hanging out with certain people and I would say something and it would happen. Or I'd joke around about something and it would happen. And the most poignant things that come to mind is I was out of high school. I was living where I kind of grew up and went to high school. I went to high school in the Yosemite area. And I was hanging out with some friends from work. And my car at the time wasn't that awesome. And it broke down. And we pulled over to the side of the road. I think it was overheating. Something simple, right? Something I could fix easily. Pulled over to the side of the road and had the hood up. And I had said out loud, I hope it doesn't rain. And the two people I were with, both at the same time, were like, Amy, why did you say that? You know how you are. You know who you are. Why did you say that? And sure enough, within 5 minutes, it started raining. And so I think I'd been trained like not to believe that kind of stuff. Or that you think you're special if you believe that kind of stuff. And then there was a party. I had broken up with one of my boyfriends and stolen his drugs, which is not funny now. And I thought it wasn't funny then. And me and my girlfriends went up to the mountains and kind of caused some ruckus. Some boys were kind of being mean to us. First, they were really friendly and flirty, and then we were not interested in that. So anyways, we were around a fire, and I was joking around about making it snow, and it did start snowing. I mean, to this day, I think maybe it was ashes coming down. But I remember the guys that were with us really freaked out. I was freaked out. And so these things continued happening throughout my life. I did end up finding my biological mom. I've probably written a few books, but I have not actually tried to publish them. So I mentioned all of this stuff. One time in Alaska. So I've always wanted to go to Alaska because it's like the one state that isn't often traveled. And it just looks so beautiful. So we used to work. So I worked at a cannery and we would work sometimes like 18-hour days. And this was at the beginning of the season. I think it was my second season there. And I was talking about magic with an older foreigner, because we used to have a lot of foreigners come and work. And they were joking with me saying, you know, do you believe in magic? Or I heard you were witchy or something like that. And I was like, oh, you think I could just clap my hands and the lights will go out? Guess what happened? I clapped my hands and the lights went out. It freaked both of us out. And actually, I don't think that person ever stood next to me again in the cannery. I think he was a little afraid of me after that. But I had learned that my friend on the other side had just said something similar. And what I'm learning is that because it was basically so that we could have some time off. Like, if I was magical, I could clap my hands, the lights would go out, and we'd have some time off. Well, we ended up having, I think, half a day off after that. And so what I'm learning now is that when we have a collective energy, you can help make that happen, which I also think is where the Sibyls come from. So the last like super kind of weird magical thing that happened was when I went to Shasta with what I think is not anyhow, a group I became involved with seeking out this type of thing. But I definitely think that there are people within the spiritual group that are leaders that aren't always on the up and up. And to this point, I actually think that this is what's led me here, is that there was literal spelling going on. That may not be true, but it definitely felt like that and looked like that. And I also wonder about that conception because I've started listening and have listened to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, if you guys are not familiar with that. But also with most ancient writings, there is words about magic and the influences of that, basically. And so what I feel like is that relationship with that group and relationships, or even relationships that I'm in right now, I think reflect the power in spelling. And I had kind of with that group, I went to Mount Shasta and I brought my singing bowls and I brought my rattle that was gifted to me. And I also think that that's part of it. I think that there is imbibed indigenous knowing, and that because if we aren't raised or fully understanding that culture, that we feel we're not allowed to bring in those practices. I don't know if that's completely true. I definitely think that I went to a place I wasn't aware of completely there. And so there, usually in my videos, I would show the sun, and that video is on here somewhere. But I would show the sun, and I was speaking tongues at the time. And I now look back and believe that I might have been speaking tongues that brought in an energy that I needed to look at, is the best way to describe it. And also, so lightning bolts came out of the sun, which reminded me of like Egypt, which could have been true, but I also think it could have been fake, and that it was to kind of lead me into this group and put me in this situation so that I would possibly do what I'm doing now. I don't know. Magical things, the way we feel the trees, the way we feel plants and animals, those are Sibyls. People who are interested in healing animals and healing people. I think a Sibyl could be anywhere from a doctor to somebody who is a life coach counselor or somebody who does tarot readings. These are all messages that come in without someone teaching you where those messages came from or how to even do it. The guru or the teacher, I would suppose, would come in to help us refine what we're doing. I mean, there's so many books and there's so many videos. I definitely feel growing up, I was totally unaware of that. But to me, what we call unhealthy or narcissistic or toxic is actually a spell, a patterning that starts way back from the removal and the lie of the feminine, that the creator energy comes from the feminine. The stories and the people in the stories are actually females and come from the feminine. I believe that Thoth was either female or hermaphrodite. I mean, Hermes and hermaphrodite. I think there's something to that. I think that it was an intention of all of us to bring into the practice to understand, yes, both sides of our energies, our yin and yang, our masculine and feminine. I think within the name, feminine is masculine. I do understand the idea of balance and nurturing in that. I do think that we're still learning what that may look like. Before I jump off this video, I'm running out of time. One of the things that was brought up recently is, so what are the platforms that we have to discuss things that are actually based in ego and shame? For example, we live in a male-dominated world, and there's always kind of this joking going on about penis envy. Penis, I just said that 3 times in this video, but that there is this egoic exchange that we see with everyone, even for the woman in the world. And I think that may be because there are things that are built into the masculine energy, such as a form of competition, a form of stereotype within the mind of others based on skin color, penis size, bank account size, car size, and these are never actually discussed. Like I understand that there are are body image things that happen for men that happen for women, yet I don't know if there is a platform that men feel comfortable bringing in other men to talk about that, and the uncomfortability of the stereotypes of the races, and how we are really good at looking outside of ourselves in that dynamic and what we think can happen. Mostly, I think it's just we don't know enough about each other, even male and female. Like, could 4 men sit in a room of 20 women and listen to every single thing they have to say and reflect back to them? And can women do the same thing with men? So these are just some things I've thought of. All right. I'm going to close this part of the Sibyls, bringing that up just so that I'm starting to realize they're not so much in the past as they are in the now. And that's part of the memory. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. If you have any input, please share with me. Input and put Anubis. Side note. All right, I'm going to do some tarot card pulls and hopefully share that with you too. May you all be favored in your good intentions with your land, with your animals, with your career. Until next time.